Thanks for stopping by. I'd like to preface this video by saying today we aren't knitting at all. We're actually going to be celebrating my baby girl Kabu today. I won't be having a knitting video until later in the week because there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of background noise too. I have the door open here. I'm in my bedroom so that if Kabu chooses to leave, which I think she will. Let me see. Nope. So instead of Kabu visiting, we have Koji once more. Kissy noises are one of his favorites, so he might stick around, maybe not. But if they choose to come visit during this video, that's totally fine. I was hoping they would want to stay with me, but if you're new here, they tend to not like it when I'm talking specifically to myself, to you guys. But yes, last week on Wednesday, on the 3rd of June, it was Kabu's birthday. She turned 7, and I really wanted to do a celebratory video for her to wish her happy birthday, just like I did on Koji's birthday, which was May 5th. But if you guys, I hope, are aware, there's a lot of unrest going on in the United States, across the globe, with what happened to many innocent black people being murdered. And I, as a black person living in America, have a lot of weight on me, and it was kind of, I was describing it, or at least I felt like it was like Wile E. Coyote holding a stick of dynamite, and he sees the fuse, and it's going and it's going and it's going toward the stick of dynamite, but he has like no reaction, and then all of a sudden the dynamite explodes in his face and he's covered in soot. And I kind of feel like that a lot with my mental state, where, you know, I feel like I'm fine and I'm going, but then slowly I start to get my bouts of insomnia. Slowly I start to have, in turn with my insomnia, waves of where all I want to do is sleep. And I am a person who enjoys sleep, but sleeping to the point where like I just don't want to get out of bed, not even feeling rested, is a problem. But it's kind of how I cope. I don't even think you can call it coping, because there's really no real way to explain what it is. But if you're not here for that, that is not what I wanted this video to be. But I did want to say that last week, I always, or at least I tried to do a lot of pre-filming of my videos before I upload them, so I have like a day or two where I'm just doing videos and I have them ready. So last week, those were already videos that I had with regards to, I think it was Saturday or Sunday that I filmed a few, and I did mention, you know, there's a lot going on. And it wasn't until this past week that it really just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I had no motivation to really be on social media a lot. I was engaging with people and everything, because that's, you know, fair enough, it's my content, it's stuff I like, but, you know, on Facebook or, you know, reading a lot of news and things, it was just really like, oof, I just don't have the energy anymore, and I don't want to do that. So this Sunday, today is Sunday, when I'm filming this, it's going to be uploaded for tomorrow, which is Monday, June 8th. I don't have a lot of content for you guys. I just haven't been knitting as strenuously or as vigorously as I usually do. But I did want to make sure I gave Kabu a good shout out, because I wish she'd want to be in here with me, so I could be cuddling her. But the purpose of this video, long story short, very, very, very long story, is to say that animals, I think, are our best asset. Humans are cruel and we're judgmental, and sometimes, you know, you wish that you could just hide sometimes. But having Kabu with me through many different moments in my life where I just felt really sad has been super helpful. So I'm glad that I can still film at least this video, even though I'm not knitting, but just to have this video up for her, to wish her a happy birthday and to talk about her and to use her as a pillar for like my mental health, and that I've always been a cat person. I've always been like more of a homebody type of girl, and I think more and more so as time progresses, I just want to be a hermit and not go out in the world because it's risky for my mental state and for my physical health, considering the body that I was born in. So Kabu, K-A-B-U is how you spell her name. And she came into my life at the end of 2013. She's what I call my Christmas cat. I had just started a new job. I was about a year into it, close to a year into my job, and I was very close to a year into owning Kokuo, who has passed away. And if you watch my birthday celebration video for Koji, I do talk about how that transpired, how he passed away. But Kabu was brought into my home a year into having Kokuo, and he was already about 7 years old when we brought her in. She was 6 months going on 7 months when she was adopted, and she's from the same shelter as him. And she got her name because, if I still have the picture, which I think I do, I hardly get rid of anything. I want to say I still have the picture. So at the very end, when I do my photo montage, hopefully she'll have her shelter photo in the slide as well. But she was just balled up like what I would call a turnip. She kind of looked like a turnip to me. And so going with the Japanese theme of my cat's names, I looked up some random K names, and then thought about like what is turnip in Japanese, because I didn't learn that when I was in school, and it's Kabu. So I was like, yes, perfect. It's a K theme. I already had Kokuo. I wanted another K name. Chose Kabu because it fit her description, just this little ball of scared cat. And I later found out that she came from another shelter that, funny enough, Kokuo would, or not Kokuo, oh my gosh, Koji would have been at that shelter had my former coworker been able to give him and his littermates and his mom to the shelter. So they were too full, so of course she ended up fostering him. But Kabu was from that shelter. They're focused on like feral to home type situations where you have a semi-feral, you have kittens caught from the wild, or wild like around neighborhoods and things. Cats that seem friendly enough to kind of work in a space where they can be socialized gradually and then adopted out. And so she was from that situation. She needed a lot of work, so the shelter that I got her from did a lot of extensive work. She was basically like an office cat, where they had to do like extreme intervention to get her to warm up to humans. You'll notice maybe in her pictures that she also has a tip on her ear like Koji does, and that's because she was caught in the wild, trapped, meant to be returned if not viable to be socialized. So luckily she was, and so they had her in the office. Eventually she was good enough that they could adopt her out. So she was in a more like social cat area where she was with other cats and not in just a kennel by herself. And I thought that was very appealing because when I wanted to introduce another cat to my home, I was looking up like ASPCA guides to see like how's the best way to go about this. What kind of cat should I adopt? And the guidelines say it should be a younger cat than the cat you have, ideally a younger cat than the cat you already have, and of the opposite sex. And so I was like, well, Kokuo was a boy, this is obviously a girl cat, and she is like a tween cat, like a teenager cat kind of thing. She's not quite a kitten. She's still a kitten, but she's like kind of growing into her adult phase. So I was like, perfect. And she's in like the social cat part of the shelter, so I know she can get along with other cats. And so we went to the shelter once. One of the shelter volunteers was in the room with us. She got her out so my partner and I could, pet her and everything. And she was just this docile cat. She wasn't purring or anything, but she was just like, meh, like a bump on a log, basically. Like, she let you handle her and everything. We're like, okay, seems okay. We haven't had a cat that didn't do that. Like, Kokuo was a friendly cat. He loved people and everything. So this is very different for us. But with that, at least she's not hissing and biting and, ears turned back or like exhibiting any signs of distress, as far as we could tell. So we're like, all right. So we visited her again. And this time, the person who was with us last time wasn't there. So it was just us in the room. And she would not come out. She was in her cat tree. But I'm like, I really, really want her. I really want to work with her to get her to be a cuddly cat. And so we adopted her that day. So we visited, I think, the weekend after or maybe the next day. It was a very short turnaround. And it was funny because one of the people who grabbed her for us so we could take her home was like, oh, there are other people looking at her too to adopt. And I was like, really? Like, honestly, I was kind of surprised if that was the case that they didn't already scoop her up. But we got her. So at the place we were living at when we adopted her, she we only had a one bedroom, and it wasn't even a bedroom. It was a giant loft studio. So there weren't any walls besides the bathroom and this utility closet. So the utility closet was the best bet because Kokuo basically had reign of the whole apartment, and he could come and go in the bathroom as he pleased. And one of the other guides said you shouldn't, you should foster, or not foster, you should introduce your new cat, but put them in a space that isn't already occupied by your cat that's like the resident cat. So I was like, all right, well, he can go in the bathroom anytime he wants, so let's put her in the utility closet. And it was big enough that, we could walk around in it. It had the water heater, the AC and stuff, and so I was like, okay. I don't know if you guys can see, but Koji is right here by me, so he's gonna come and chill. But he already got his attention. He got his video, so that's fine. Maybe Kabu will come back later. So she stayed with us in the utility closet for maybe a month or two, and that was like slow introductions to Kokuo, on top of the fact that she was still very hissy at us. Like, I'd go in every day and sit with her, try to get her to play. I did this thing with her and with Koji where while they were still hissy babies, I would sit in the room with them and I'd sing to them. And so, just silly songs like, oh, don't worry, I'm your mom, and I know you're a hissy, scary baby, but, everything will be fine. Like, just silly stuff, just so she'd get used to my voice, just so Koji would get used to my voice. And it's so funny, I was at work, and my partner sent me this picture of them petting her, and they're like, look what I could do. And I was just like, oh, like, I adopted her, like she was supposed to be, she wasn't supposed to be my cat, but I was just like, hey, no fair. Like, I spend all this time with her, but I'm so glad she warmed up to somebody, because it was taking a while. Eventually she got really cuddly and really sweet, and then, we still had to spend a lot of time getting Kokuo used to having a little sister around, because he would hiss at the door and everything. It was just like, come on, you're so dramatic. And finally, one day she was able to, go out there with him and be part of the family, and it was great. They were never best friends, but they would every now and then kind of rabble-rouse and chase each other around, and they'd be able to share common spaces. Like they'd both be able to be on the couch together, on our bed and stuff like that. So that was nice. She is just a really silly kitty. It's hard to believe she's already 7 because she still acts very, very young. But again, I think I was talking to my partner, and I think our benchmarks have been comparing her progression and Koji's progression to Kokuo. And Kokuo was just like this chill cat, you know, stuck in his ways. Whoever had him before we got him just like knew their stuff, and he was a very well-adjusted cat, like the best. And he wasn't very cuddly, but he was very even-tempered and easy to handle. Baby girl. So one of her nicknames is Baby Girl. I call her my hoagie sub. When she was a kitten and she'd fit perfectly on my lap, she'd stretch out like between my legs, and she was long and thin like a hoagie sandwich. And if you're from the Northwest, we called hoagies kind of like a sub sandwich. So she looked like a hoagie sandwich to me. That's funny, I associate them with food, but she is a hoagie sandwich, baby kitty, baby girl, princess Kabu, sweetie. Still just call her Kabu most of the time anyway. But she's just a very, very sweet kitty, and I love her so much. And I feel like she knows, you know, you don't want to come off like as a mentally unwell person just to say there's something going on in your head that isn't quite right. But you know, when you hear somebody say they know me, they feel it, like I can tell that they are attuned to my emotions, I believe it 100%. Like I think a lot of people can relate to that, or your animals just kind of know when you need them. And honestly, it just like kind of gives me a lump in my throat thinking about like the very, very, very heartbreaking day when I will have to say goodbye to her, and it's gonna be hard because she's awesome. She's a little neurotic. She loves to lick her tummy. She's licking her tummy right now. Let me see if I can show you. Can you guys see that? See how bare her tum-tum is? She loves to groom, and she'll groom and groom and groom and groom. Like almost every moment that she's not just sitting and like watching squirrels or something, she's giving herself a bath. And she probably doesn't appreciate me putting her on blast like that, so she'll probably give herself a bath as soon as I'm done giving her pets. But one of her favorite places is under her chin, but what cat doesn't like that? She loves getting her neck scratched and her shoulders. And it's funny because like she and Koji like to be, I almost call it like pet like a dog, where you like kind of slap them on the side of their rib cage and stuff, like on their side of their tummy. Like they love a good hard pat. Especially Koji. Koji loves to be roughed up. It's weird. He likes the really hard pets. But she's just so sweet. She loves to hunt. Thankfully nothing alive. I mean, she's batted a few ants around and spiders and stuff, but she hasn't actually ever done anything with them besides just scare the heck out of me. But she has one mouse toy that she absolutely loves, and then she has this fuzzy, it's like a fuzzy cactus thing. I've mentioned it a few times before, but that's also one of her favorite things to hunt and pretend to catch, when really all she does is like pat it once, not even like bat it. She'll just like boop, like put her paw on it. She's like, wow, look what I did. So she'll make all these weird noises, and it sounds It sounds like a child that's been hit. Like, it's the most horrid noise, like so distressing, but she's actually very happy. And so it's funny because my partner will be playing video games and you'll probably hear them making all kinds of noise downstairs, but they'll be on the mic and they're clanmates and their guild or whatever and their game like, what the heck is that noise? And they're like, oh, you know, my cat, she found something, she's hunting right now. And they're like, really? And you know, she'll do it constantly. So but yes, those are my cats. I love them so much. Let me know if you have pets. I know some of you do, but if you're new here and you haven't shared that with me, I'd love to hear about your animals too. And if they've been a place or, you know, something therapeutic for you during this time. I know mine have, so I owe them everything for just being unconditionally loving, and I think humans can learn a lot from that. So thanks for stopping by, and later this week you'll see another video or two from me, but right now I just need to be. So thank you for your understanding, and thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!